Hello. Maybe you're recently stepping into the role of caregiver. Maybe you've been caregiving for quite some time. Maybe it's a labor of love. Maybe it's just a job. But I want to encourage you. Caregiving is tiring and rewarding. And I just wanted to share some of the things that helped me. First thing, always remember that you're a part of a team, and that team includes the person that you are giving the care to. They're, as much as possible, you want to have them be a part of the decisions that you'll be making. And if you're blessed, like I was, with I don't want to call them a patient exactly, but with the person that you're caring for, if they are patient and appreciative, of course it'll make your task all the easier and all the more rewarding. That team will include friends perhaps that step in and help, organizations in the community, his doctors, and you're all part of a team. So some of the things that I was told, not too far in the caregiving task, you're going to have a lot of appointments especially if this is an ongoing physical change that your loved one is going through, and you can get really overwhelmed trying to get it all done. You know, as the jobs come up, you may have 2 or 3 appointments in one day, and it was suggested to me by a counselor, have 1 slow week and 1 busy week. So protect that slow week with only things that cannot wait. And then, believe it or not, you probably fit them all into the busy week. But it gives you some breathing space, and you need that very much. Check out local resources. There's probably a list of organizations that can help either financially or with I'll have to cut this part out. Anyway, they may have extra caregiving help they can give you. They can direct you to places that have help. And of course, check out the Veterans Administration. If your person you're caring for is a veteran, they have a lot of ways to help. It's a process. So go ahead and there are organizations, which I think I'll talk about them in the next video, but there are organizations that are not government organizations, but they're government funded, and all they do all day long is try to help guide veterans into the resources that they have available. There are discounts for the family members. There are hours of care. There's respite care. So I can't say enough positive about the VA. They were really a godsend in our situation. The next thing I want to talk about is labels. Your life might get very complicated, and you might have different medications, but not just different medications, but you want to know where the Band-Aids are, where the medicines are, where the specialty creams are, where, it's hard to remember, at least it was for me, it's hard to remember you know, where everything is at times. But I got off of you can get labels for your manila folders, but you can also get computer labels that have the little holes to feed them through a printer. And I bought a couple of times, I bought boxes of 5,000 labels, and I've gone through them. I don't just use them in the work area, but also I use them all over the house, because you'll have a lot on your mind, and it's just very helpful to be able to, you know, to read across the shelf and see where things are. So I found them to be a real lifesaver. In fact, that's one thing that made me want to reach out and help people is how effective those labels were for me, helping me to find things. Expect to be tired, but rest all you can. If you're having trouble sleeping, there are a lot of wonderful YouTube videos on ways to help. And I've tried different things. The best thing that worked for me is, I actually found recently, was a series of 3 things. I'd like to give credit to, I'll have to research where I found this. But anyway, there's three tips if you wake up in the night and cannot go back to sleep. 3 things. Don't watch the screen, either your TV, computer, or phone. Don't look at the clock. Don't get up, which was a surprise to me. I thought, well, if I'm laying here struggling, I should get up and make use of the time. But this person said, don't get up unless, of course, you need to use the restroom. And then, okay, those are the 3 things don't do. Now, the 3 things to do, you do a breathing exercise. I think they call it diaphragmatic breathing. But anyway, what you do is you take in a breath for a count of 4, and then you hold it for a count of 7, and you release it for a count of 8. And you do that several times. I usually do it about 4 or 5 times. And then you do what they call progressive relaxation. You tighten up your toes and your feet, and on up to your legs, you know, your knees, your thighs, you know, on up, you know, even scrunching up your face and your hands, and relax. And then you do, I think they call it cognitive something or other. You take a word, for instance, like breath, and you take each letter and you, so like the example is the letter B. You're going to think of a bee, like a buzzy bee kind. And that sounds so silly. Okay, so you just picture it. You don't think about it. You don't analyze it. Then you go on to the next thing that starts with a B. Maybe it's bacon. Then you picture a pack of bacon. Then butter. You picture a cube of butter. And you're just thinking, and you just keep going through these things. And when you run out of things to think of on that B, then you go to the next letter, which is R. So maybe that's a rock, maybe that's a river, rose. Anyway, you keep going through that. And I have never gone all the way through the word. I've always fallen asleep before I end the word. So, and you can pick a different word every night. And then that's the trick, really, is that you're shutting off your thoughts. You're just disengaging your mind from reasoning and worry. Very helpful. Okay. I also, I found it comforting to remember and realize you're going to make mistakes, but you know, you're doing the best you can in a tough situation, And hopefully you have support, but do what you can and don't beat yourself up. That doesn't help anything. And last thing I want to talk about now is allow space for you and your partner to grieve the changes that they're going through. It's in a progressive illness especially, there'll be changes. Something that they can do one day, next week they might not be able to do that anymore. And they will, I'm just saying in my experience, they will have to mourn that, and they might go into a little depression, and it'll be, the change will be hard for you as you realize that you need to pick up that slack now. And but I don't want to sound like it's all negative. I just want to encourage you, because I know it's difficult, but I also know the rewards are so great. You'll find probably a lot of people offer to help you, and go ahead and take that help. They wouldn't offer if they didn't want to do it. And what may be just a few minutes in their life will be a big blessing to you, to give you a little bit of relief. You can rely on friends and family. Your children probably want to help. If you don't have children, maybe you have friends, maybe you have a church family. And I hope and pray that you do have some sort of support. And so anyway, hang in there. I was told something at the first part of my caregiving journey from a dear friend of mine, and she said she had cared for both her mother and her mother-in-law as they went into dementia and stuff. And that was really a challenge, I know. And she said to me, "You're going to think you can't do it, but you can." And I hung on to that thought. And of course, faith was a big rock for me to lean on. And I hope and pray you have something like that too. And I want to tell you, I am proud of you. So God bless you.